For months, I had been trapped in an endless cycle of begging. I begged my wife for affection, for respect, for even a small moment of her time. Each day felt like walking on eggshells, waiting for her approval, longing for her attention, yet always coming up short. No matter how hard I tried, it was never enough. If I worked late, she accused me of not caring about her. If I came home early, she complained that I lacked ambition. I cooked for her, surprised her with small gifts, took her out, but she dismissed it all as if it meant nothing. Eventually, I stopped recognizing myself. I was no longer the confident man I once was. I felt drained, exhausted, and desperate. Every argument ended with me apologizing, even when I had done nothing wrong, just to keep the peace. I convinced myself that this was love, sacrificing who I was so she could be happy. In reality, I had become her shadow, living only to manage her moods. Then this morning, something inside me broke. She asked me to iron her clothes before work. Normally, I would have jumped up immediately, hoping for at least a smile. But this time, I looked at her and said nothing. I sat down, sipped my tea, and scrolled through my phone. For the first time in years, I ignored her request. She noticed right away. "Did you hear me?" she asked sharply. I nodded but didn't move. Her eyes widened with surprise. She wasn't used to this version of me, the man who didn't rush to please her. She left the shirt wrinkled on the bed and stormed into the bathroom, slamming the door. I continued drinking my tea in silence. Later, she asked me to run an errand for her mother. Usually, I would have gone without hesitation just to avoid drama, but I calmly said, "I'm busy today. You can handle it." The expression on her face was unforgettable: confusion, anger, and even a hint of fear. It was the first time she understood I wasn't her servant. Throughout the day, she kept testing me with small requests. "Bring me water, fix my charger, call the plumber." Each time, I either shook my head or replied, "Not now." My refusal wasn't loud or rude. It was quiet, steady, and firm. That calm silence carried more strength than any argument I had ever made. By evening, the atmosphere in the house had changed. She paced around restlessly, stealing glances at me, trying to figure out what had shifted. Finally, she asked, "What's wrong with you today?" For once, I didn't beg or over-explain. I looked her directly in the eyes and said, "I'm tired of being the only one trying in this marriage." Her mouth opened as if to argue, but no words followed. She wasn't prepared for me to stand my ground. She was used to me pleading for her attention, her forgiveness, her love. But that day, I gave her nothing. No explanations, no begging, no desperate effort to ease her feelings. The silence between us grew heavy. She tried to escape it by turning on the TV, scrolling through her phone, pretending she didn't care. But I could see the discomfort in her posture. For years, I had made sure she came home. For years, I had made sure she came home to a hot meal, but that night, I didn't lift a finger. She cooked for herself, banging pots in frustration, though I sensed the panic behind her movements. That night, as we lay in bed, she finally spoke softly. "You've been distant today. Are you upset with me?" I turned toward her and calmly replied, "I'm not upset. I'm just done begging. I'm done living like I'm the only one trying." She looked at me as though I were a stranger beside her. She tried to defend herself, insisting she never asked me to beg and that I was overreacting. But I reminded her of every time she dismissed my efforts, every moment she took my kindness for granted, every time she made me feel small. The truth showed clearly on her face. She knew I was right. For once, she didn't hold the power. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I didn't plead. I simply spoke the truth and let the silence linger. And within that silence, she understood she might lose me if nothing changed. As she turned away, pretending to sleep, I lay awake feeling unexpectedly free. For the first time in years, I wasn't burdened by the need for her approval. I had reclaimed a piece of myself, and it felt powerful. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. Maybe she will change. Maybe she won't. But one thing is certain. I will never beg again. She noticed today, and tomorrow she will understand. The next morning, I left early without saying much. I ignored her calls during the day, and when I returned home, I calmly handed her an envelope. Inside were the papers, my decision to separate. Her hands shook as she read, her eyes filling with shock and fear. She tried to argue, to beg me to stay, but this time I was the silent one. The man who once begged for her love no longer existed. I packed my belongings slowly while she watched, unable to stop me. "You'll regret this," she whispered.